What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to the Mrs. Best Reviews channel. I'm Mrs. Best. We have James from the Watch Your Mouth Reviews channel here.
Hey. Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Show my girl some love.
Yes, please do. Also subscribe to James's channel. A lot of the shows, we both do a lot of shows across both channels. I only do a couple shows without him, not too many, but we have a lot going. Salt Lake City, Married to Medicine will be returning next month. We have Love and Hip Hop returning. We have this show. We have Bell Collective, the Braxtons, lots of shows. So please tap in. Also, I'll be covering Vanderpump Rules whenever that comes back, the reboot of that, which I'm excited about. James confirmed he will join, so that's a good thing. But let's get into Married at First Sight. Just going to turn my camera off for a second because my computers have been tripping. Hi, Shani. Thank you for being here. This episode irritated me, James. I don't know how you felt about it, but this episode annoyed me.
I was equally as annoyed. I've never seen so much foolery come out of one white woman's mouth in all my life.
Not one white woman's mouth. Well, that is the truth. We're going to start with a black woman, though. We're going to start with Brittany and Will. They're doing better. She's more relaxed. We see them, like, compared to where they were last week, we see them, like, entirely switched up. So Brittany and Will, she's asking him how he's doing at work because he's going to work and things like that during the day. She seems to want to make him food, and she was actually a caring spouse. The worst thing that could happen is you come home and your spouse isn't like, how was your day? How are you? Like, in my opinion, that's the absolute worst thing that could happen. But I'm glad that she's so positive. But I'm like, this is a random switch. In my head, I said they must have fucked. It's that simple. They did the dirty. Because ain't no way she just made a full 360 that fast. So we see them sitting around and she's asking him. It's almost like she's uncomfortable with the fact that he's just so chill. And she's like, what upsets you? What's a pet peeve? Because she doesn't understand why he's not annoyed with the fact that she sheds hair all over the place, which most people with hair do, but especially women. And he has a mom and a sister. So one would assume, Brittany, that he understands that women shed sometimes, just like men do. But he tells her a pet peeve that he has is repeating himself. He says it annoys him. She almost messed up and made it into a thing, but I saw her catch herself and she didn't allow it to be a thing. But we do learn that because he's a tech consultant, that means that he travels a lot for work. So he is going to be gone for a couple days, looks like 3 to 4 days for work. But he made an interesting comment in this scene that kind of rubbed me wrong. He was mentioning how he just feels like traveling for work is okay in a marriage because he saw his dad do it a lot. Now, I'm happy they're turning a new leaf for now, but was his dad at the wedding? I don't recall him being there unless he passed away. I could be forgetting something that he said earlier but your dad traveled for work and probably trained you to think that that's okay, but there's an importance to work-life balance when you have a wife and a family. So while money is important, you have to balance your time that you spend making that money and the time that you spend with your spouse. How did you feel about their little scene at the beginning of the show?
I feel like for her to be fishing for an issue, you're going to later find one. Just let things be and let him bring the issue to you instead of you asking him what it is. Like, it's very simple, y'all. Some of these people make things way more complicated than they need to be. If he didn't say it's a problem, then don't take it as a problem. It's very simple. Another thing, I also was triggered by him saying, his father traveled a lot for work. Because if I recall, I believe his parents are divorced.
Thank you.
If I recall correctly. So I don't think that that's something that you should bring into a marriage. I think you need to find balance. It's okay to travel here and there for work. That's completely fine. But if you're making it a constant issue or a constant stability of life where you want to travel for work all the time, that can cause a lot of tension in your marriage, especially having someone like Brittany who looks for an issue every single time. that is going to put a block into you guys at some point. I think she's dealing with it now because it would be crazy of her to have an issue with you making money. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like for me, these two just constantly
They're
are
both red flags in every way. My biggest problem with his statement in that he made it as if she just is going to have to accept that he's going to travel
right.
for it. But marriage is compromise. You cannot have a relationship without compromise. And you can't have compromise if you just make decisions like that.
True.
You
Yep.
just can't. So I understand she's been difficult, but you still have to, that's still your wife, bro. You still got to consult with her. But the next thing we see is Rhonda. We last saw Rhonda defensive and tripping on Pat, and it actually made me feel bad for Pat. But she acknowledges and admits that she was defensive and also protective. And she asked Pat how she can help him to feel safe. He says it would help if she would just listen to the experts. He basically said it a nice way. Bitch, the way you could help me is if you go and, listen to the doctor. Actually take the experiment seriously. Do what people are telling you to do. You know? So, I thought that was smart of him. He just asked her not to attack him. Rhonda says she's going to need patience. And now she says she loves him. Rhonda, I'm going to let James go first.
I feel like you are the most manipulative person I have seen in a while on reality TV. For you to gaslight this man's feelings, then use it against him in strawman arguments you want to have because you want to pick and pour through every little flaw he has. I thought that was insane. Rhonda, you're toxic. I'm sorry.
She is.
I hate I have to say this, but you are very toxic. Now I have to reevaluate how I see you, and I didn't want to do that because y'all, at first glance, I liked Rhonda a lot, but Rhonda's ways are very toxic
And self-centered.
and self-centered. Yes.
It's okay to love yourself and put yourself first, but it's the way you do it. And she does it with toxicity and prejudges other people from her own trauma, which shows me that she may have done a lot of work on herself, but she's not done. And she may think that she's done, but she's not done at all. But moving forward, we'll come back to them. Josh, Jalen, Chad, Belinda, the new in-laws, and married couples, they all meet up. They do a crawfish boil that looked questionable as hell.
I will say this. At least he had all the fixings in his, unlike Carrie from Bell Collective, who didn't have but one potato per person. At least he had several.
Carrie committed a felony. I'm trying to tell you. What Carrie did. Carrie irritated us all with that. But they have a crawfish boil. I like that the family makes an effort. We saw Jalen's twin come by. We learned that Chad said that he loved Belinda. Belinda did not say it back. She wants to take her time. I don't find anything wrong with that. Jalen mentions kids when talking to her mom, Belinda, and she's considering getting into it quickly just to get it out the way and because they really want to show their kids the affection and all these things. And her mom, I was actually happy to see that though her mom is in this experience, she still told her, like, you might want to take your time, because a post-nup's been mentioned and then you're still just getting to know each other. So you want to take your time so you don't end up like the mom did, divorced and having to go through it later. But Jayla makes it clear, like regardless of what happens and if they have kids or not, she does not want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I felt like she missed the point. Your mom is not coming at you about being a stay-at-home mom. Your mom's not just coming at you about having to restart. Your mom's coming at you like, wait until you know that this is your forever person before you bring kids into it. Don't put them through a divorce or yourself through it if you don't have to. Like, take your time.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. But Belinda said it also as a way where this man has thrown caution to the wind when it comes to your situation. And you need to pay attention to the signs of the caution. The posting up was one thing, but then also having the kids. These are things that you guys need to learn each other and understand each other before you have all of these red flags and all these stop signs in your way. And I think that the problem with Jalen, she's one of those know-it-alls. I feel like she's one of those because she's seen an example and it went all crossfire. So she's trying to make like the corrections that her mother did not make in her marriage. But what you have to understand is your dad and your husband are two different people. So you can't just look at the example of what your parents had and think that if I do the opposite, then I'm going to have a stronger marriage than or I'm gonna have a stronger situation than my parents. That's what I feel like she's doing. And I could be wrong, and I don't really care one way or the other because I'm still learning these people. But to me, it just seems like she's trying to correct mistakes that have not happened yet.
Jalen and Josh are hiding stuff in my
opinion,
because
I agree.
Everything with her has to be presented as perfect. I think we're on the same page with her mom and the advice she's giving. The problem is, I don't think Jalen, I agree, I don't think she has the capacity to want to take the advice because she's trying to do, like you said, it's obvious she's trying to do the opposite of what her parents did. But in doing the opposite of what her parents did, she's also playing into putting herself in the potential situation to end up like she won't see it, but based on the clips they showed at the end of this episode for what's to come for the rest of the season, stuff will start to come out. Mm-hmm. But we'll put a pin in those people for now because we got to go back to Rhonda. Now, Rhonda is me gardening. I love my garden. I just do. There's a big plant behind me. It's way in the back. You probably can't see because of the sun. But I love to garden. So I love Rhonda. I think if you have a house, make it beautiful. Protect your plants, things like that. So good for her. I also think it's amazing when you have a husband, shout out to Mr. Best, that will help you with your gardening. So I thought that was nice that Pat actually participated. But their dynamic is still strange to me. It still gives like, he's gonna do what I'm telling him to do, and he's gonna appreciate it because I'm opening him up to my life. That's what it's giving, Rhonda. Like, Rhonda, you're making me like you less and less each episode. It's unfortunate, but you know, people are different in relationships, and Rhonda's showing us that. But she opens up to Pat and tells him how her last husband that she had did not move in until after they got married. And there were already kids involved in all of that. So she felt like that was a mistake. Then when she does get into the home, she said that she would bring home like bed sheets and things to try and make it feel like their home, not just her home. And he was totally against it. She didn't tell us if she discussed it with him or not, because whether it was your home or his home, you should have discussed it. Like, my house is decorated for the most part the way I want because my husband just goes with it. But I do talk to him about everything I decide to put on the wall because he lives here too and it's his home too. And he should know and be okay with what he has to look at in his home. So I do worry about that because Rhonda will tell us what her exes did in her relationships. But I've noticed since we've met her, she's not told us the mistakes she made. Not once. So I'm like, Rhonda, there's more to that story, but that is a thing to be in someone else's home. I know you went through that in the previous relationship. A lot of people go through it. It's extremely common. And that's why the experts put them in a mutual space and not in one or the other's home. Because I'm sure people like Rhonda and Brittany with their houses and Megan with that dog would have been like, oh, yep, he can come here, whatever. No, keep your property, but you got to find a marital property. You know what I mean? So I don't think Rhonda gets that, but she makes the point to say she doesn't want Pat to ever feel like he's not welcome in her space or anything crazy like that. What is going on with my camera? Oh, Lord.
It's StreamYard because it did the same thing to me.
Okay, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's StreamYard. I don't know. Yeah.
It's crazy. But, I mean, it's nice that she wanted to make Pat feel nice. But at the same time, I'm like, Rhonda, I'm still looking at you like a red flag. But this man lived with his mama. He lives with his mama. He could come to your house. Where else he going to go? Back to his mama? So, you know, there's that. But how did you feel about Rhonda's explanation to Pat? It's almost like she's trying to, like, see, I get it too, but then still trying to take control.
Right. And that's exactly what she's doing by pointing out the flaws. It's like, yeah, I want you to love me. I want you to relate to me, but also I'm going to point out that you're imperfect in these three areas. And I need you to, understand that and everything. And it's like, okay, we get it, but at the same time, you're sabotaging this man and his image and his being just because it may be familiar or he may be unaware. And it's like, you're not God here. So you don't get to determine just because he makes these very subtle inferences or mistakes that just means you need to completely demolish him altogether. That is messed up. Another thing is, you made a great point, and I think I said this in the last live. We don't know Rhonda's part in her relationship of her marriage of what went wrong. We know the man didn't have a job. We know that he didn't want to work and that she was taking care of him. But at the same time, was it always that way? Because if it was always that way and you still chose to marry him, that's your fault.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I'm looking at Rhonda with the side eye. I'm like, okay, do you voluntarily go into these situations knowing these men have these issues so that way you can always point the finger? Meanwhile, you staying clear of everything that could be wrong with you? Is that what we're looking at, Rhonda? Because that's how it feels to me. It's I think she makes it poignant to point out things about this man so it can not reflect on her, which is why Dr. P pointed that shit out when she was trying to do it in that therapy session and she had to get her ass together. Like, see, what you just did was a defense mechanism. And it makes him uncomfortable because now he doesn't know which way to go with you. And that's exactly what she does. It's a very subtle game that not many people keep up with, because what they do is they get you out of character, you argue with them, and then they can now point you out to be dangerous on the other opinions they have with you. It's very manipulative and it's very clever of her to do, but you have to be a very astute man to point it out and say, I know exactly what you're doing and it's not going to work.
Yeah, he's just not that.
He's not that person. Nope.
He's just not. But we're going to move forward from Rhonda and them, Lord. They stress me out. Dr. P goes by Josh and you know what? Fucking StreamYard is irritating me. I'm turning my shit off. On my nerves. But Dr. P goes to Josh and Jalen's apartment and they do a little activity and I see exactly why Dr. P was doing what she was doing, because Josh and Jalen, if nobody interrupted them this whole process, they'll act like everything is sugar and spice and everything nice. They will act like there is no problem in the world and this experience is just working and the experts are the most knowledgeable experts that have ever existed. I don't like people who try to paint things out to be perfect when they're not. Like, that's stupid and makes people less likable. But they do kind of an activity, which was smart. They play a game. So Dr. P says that she's going to make a statement. The couple's going to have their backs turned to each other. And if they agree, they'll move a certain amount of steps. If they disagree, they will, things of that nature. So the first thing she asked, it says, is, I have a positive view of my family. Jalen says that she was in agreement with that because she feels she wants to bring certain aspects of what she saw, like positivity that her parents instilled in her and her siblings, into her marriage and relationship. This is why Dr. P is good and why an actual person that went to school matters more than people who did not or may be skilled in other areas sometimes, because it exposed Jalen as contradicting herself.
Yep.
You said just an episode ago that you want your kids to see you and your husband all over each other, super affectionate. You want them to see the opposite of what you had and what you saw. Now you're saying that you feel like your upbringing was positive and you want to bring that into it. Now, I'm not saying she may not have had her parents speaking positivity into her, but I just felt like she contradicted herself.
She absolutely did. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's why I mentioned it in the beginning. I feel like she is trying to get ahead of what she saw wrong with her parents' marriage and is trying to bring that into her own situation. But as I said, your husband and your father are two different people. And another thing I want to point out is she was not grown fully when her parents divorced.
So she don't know what she's talking about.
So she don't really know what she's talking about. And she doesn't really, I think she has an idea of it, but it's one thing to see a situation when you're a kid and it happens versus being an adult and you're going through your own situation and it happens. Like, as I became an adult, I saw why my parents divorced. I didn't understand it as a kid. I say it now as something they had to do. And it wasn't so much that their personalities were a conflict. It just, I don't think that they were two people that were ever going to meet eye to eye and make a marriage work. So it's kind of like one of those where I feel like, once again, she's going to be in her own way and follow her own sword because she keeps trying to make sure something doesn't happen. But sometimes when you're running from something, you tend to run right into it because you're not very clear on what it was. And I think that Belinda probably was not clear on the divorce. I think she was clear on that daddy cheated and it was years of me dealing with it. But I don't think she's got the extent of the hurt that Belinda could have been through going through infidelity in a 20-year marriage.
Yeah, she doesn't get it. And that's another good point to bring up because Jalen is the person who dealt with the cheating from her last boyfriend that she had after she found out the love of her life passed. And she probably thinks that that was the most devastating thing. But I promise you, when there's legal documents involved, cheating probably hurts that much more because you can't just leave. Even if you choose to go, you still got to go to court. So, that's a good point. But Josh is interesting. So he didn't really move. He kind of commented on like his grandparents and how, they had a good marriage. And though he keeps saying this though, and it's upsetting me. We didn't have a lot of money. We grew up poor. I did too. A lot of people did. Stop fucking talking about it so much at this point. Like, I get that it's traumatizing. You have success now. I feel like every opportunity that Josh can, he's reminding us that his grandparents were poor and that they raised them. But he doesn't want to talk about his mom and why she's not around and how it impacted him to have to be raised by his grandparents. Josh needs a lot of help. But Dr. P then asked, I'm willing to share my passwords with my spouse. They were both in agreement. And I said, now they both bullshitting.
Yep.
I'll be damned if I sell my password with somebody that I do not know and I'm getting to know. Right. This is not a situation where if you ask James and his spouse or me and my spouse, like, are you okay with sharing passwords? Like, that's different. We've had time to get to know them, know if we could trust them, know where you're at, stuff like that. But you've barely been together a month at this point. They've barely been together a couple weeks. So it's like, Dr. P bringing that up was a good segue to learn about jealous tendencies and to bring up difficult conversations that Josh and Jalen are avoiding. They're so focused on talking about the things that they each think come with marriage. Oh, look, StreamYard's working, child. Hallelujah. I took off my glasses. I said, maybe it'll like me now. But it doesn't seem like they're asking questions that like really matter. Like, how many exes have you had? When's the last relationship you had? Do you talk with any of those exes? Like, these are conversations that should have come up by now when you're with someone to the extent that they are, but the doctor had to do it. So I thought that was interesting. They both claim that they're fine with it, but Dr. P then asked about exes. And this is where Jalen explains that she does not follow or talk to her exes. She's not really, when she's done with someone, she says she's done, and that's just that, which I don't see anything wrong with that, especially if it's not someone you like grew up with or had a connection with. If you just dated them and you're not dating anymore, there's no reason to stay around. It doesn't have to be beef. It's just that. Mm-hmm. But when we get to Josh, he says that he and his ex still follow each other, but he tries to make it seem like he tried to clean it up. You could tell he's one of those people who's a people pleaser. That's what I got out of this, because why are you saying that? Well, now that I know that she doesn't like it, I'm going to cease all of communication. I'm like, wait, huh? What's going on with y'all off camera? Because he was really quick to say cease communication. All they asked was, do you follow an ex on social media? No one asked if you're communicating with them on social media.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people on my social media that I do not communicate at all with. I've had exes on my social media, but I don't communicate with them. They just be there. Like, so I'm looking at that like that was an admission of guilt. That was an admission of guilt out of worry of when and how she would find out. And I could see him doing like that because he sprung the post-nup on her out of nowhere. Like, you brought her to the top of a mountain to do some shit she didn't really want to do. And instead of making it romantic, you mentioned the post-nuptial agreement. So I feel like he's kind of doing the same thing with his ex. But why is she so important? why are you still talking to her? Like, that's weird. Like, if you
I have an answer.
get back together.
I have an answer. She was the one that got away. She was the one that got away because because I put myself in the situation. I don't have any communication with any of my exes. They're an ex for a reason. No matter how good or bad the relationship was, I don't have any communication with any of my exes because I choose not to have any communications. I feel like you gave the best example. They did what they needed to do. We now have moved on with our lives. If they decide to follow me on social media because you can on my Instagram, fine. I'm not going to engage with them. I'm not going to say anything. I'm honestly going to tell you, I don't know if they're following me because my page is public. I don't know if they're following me or not. But at the end of the day, to me, seasoned communication means that you had one toe still left in the front door. And that's probably why she looked like that, because when you say cease all communication, that means you were still communicating. That means you probably, to some degree, and I'm saying allegedly because I'm not trying to be in this man's business, but there probably was hope that you probably thought you and this ex were going to get back together at some point, because you probably were the reason why she left. And I'm telling you, sometimes that wounded baby bird shit, let me tell you something. He gives me possessive. He gives me that he's very possessive of a person. That can get exhausting, that can be scary, and that can be tiring. And I think that that's why that ex left. I'm guessing. I'm not saying that that's real or anything, but he gives me he's possessive, and that's why that ex left. And he has not cut the communication because he still wants, in some way, access of her.
I agree. It's a red flag. It's definitely a red flag. I have not one ex on my social media right now. So I feel like if you're happy with your person, there's like no reason to think about them, meet them, talk to them.
Right.
Like, okay, Josh. Okay. Next, she asked if they are comfortable discussing money with their spouses, and they both agree. I thought that was bullshit on Josh's part. I feel like Jalen is comfortable with discussing money because she wants to be independent. I feel like Josh is not, because of how uncomfortable he was in asking for a post-nup. It's to be expected when you're marrying someone at first sight that you've never met before. That's not a situation where someone will be the most offended. So I thought that he wasn't really the most honest about that. But then he pissed me off because Josh was like, well, now I don't think I need a post-nup after hearing her talk about how independent she is and her reasons for valuing this and that. I don't want a post-nup anymore. And I'm like, bro, you're so full of shit. What about your business partner and all of this? And Dr. P tried to call it out, and he was like, nope. He's just like, whatever I'm good with, he's okay with, and he trusts me. But a second ago, your business partner, when you was talking to her, Mr. I'm comfortable talking about money, you told her that, yeah, my business partner's got a post-nup too. So why the fuck would he have a post-nup when he's married, but you not have one, but you're equal partners? That doesn't make sense. So I'm calling bullshit on Josh. This couple, something they have in common is wanting to look perfect.
Yes.
And it's okay until it's not. They're just so full of shit. Post-nup is absolutely necessary. It's absolutely necessary. It protects you. Even if you want to stay married and don't think you'll ever get a divorce, if I come into a lot of money, I'm going to get a post-nup so that if that shit goes left, my husband's not going to have to be liable and all of that for my debt and all of that. And we can still have another person to rely upon. I had a friend actually named Dulai, shout out to her because she does subscribe, who did that with her current husband because she had bad credit, she says, from a foreclosure, and they had some issues. So when they got together, he had her sign a post-nup. They agreed to it. And the post-nup ended up helping it to where the couple was able to buy a house, which led to her being able to repair her credit and all of these things because it legally separated him from her debt. And they did try to come after his ass. And he had to show up to court with attorneys to show that this was a legitimate document. So I feel like it would be smart for them to do, even if they did know each other. Protect your business, protect your assets, and make sure as a couple you don't want to put everything in just both people's name, because then if shit hits the fan, everything's in both people's names and you're fucked. Like, think smartly, but protect yourself. You don't know this lady. But how do you feel about his response?
I also thought it was bullshit because I'm trying to figure out what in her personality or being made you feel like she was that trustworthy of not having a prenup being signed. What changed exactly?
It's been 3 years.
Because to me, you said in this conversation that, talking it over with her, I feel like I can completely trust that she does not want anything from me. And to me, I want to know what changed, because you were dead set on it being one of those, well, my partner, my business partner, his wife had to sign one. We want to just protect our business. What changed? And why do you not get to sign one? Why does your wife not get to sign one, but his wife had to sign one? Like, what changed? As a business partner, I would be looking at you sideways, because here you are with the woman you don't even know,
And
saying
he
that you
has
don't
a
want
man
her.
he love.
Yeah, that would make me, as his business partner, look at him sideways, because to me, it's not the proper move. You don't know this young lady. She may be trustworthy. She may be all the beautiful things that you think that she is. But at the end of the day, y'all don't know each other. You have a business that you built before you even knew her. So you need to protect it. There's nothing wrong with protecting something that you are constantly getting an income from. And that's not to say
Unless
that you
he
wouldn't
lying.
help her out if
Unless he
that's
lying.
another
Because
that's another thing. Yes, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was the first thing that went through my head. Unless you're perpetrating this business, which I don't think it's a full perpetrator. I think he does do what he says he does. But are you are you really the business owner of this business? Or are you just attached as one of the vendors? I need
he
to
said,
know
I
now,
think he's
because
one of a few owners from how he described it. But I also feel like he's lying about something. I've been saying this from the beginning, from meeting them. I feel like he's hiding something more so than her. I feel like she has some growth and work she needs to do, but I also feel like he might be hiding something, but I don't know. We shall see. We're going to
yeah.
move forward to Derek and Megan. We're going to start with Derek. Derek meets with his friend. I did not catch the friend's name, but I love this friend. Um, he talks to his friend about him and Megan having issues discussing kids. He says that he feels attacked whenever he talks to her about anything, and it makes it harder to communicate. Well, she feels attacked. Like, basically, any correction he gives, like the sun could be out and she could be like, no, babe, it's dark outside still. And if he says, no, the sun is out, she's going to get upset. Like, I don't know why, but she just doesn't like when he disagrees with her. He doesn't like when he's not hearing yes, or when she's not hearing yes and things like that from her. When she ain't getting her way, she's throwing a fit. I'm sorry. Classic colorless syndrome of their women. It's just a fact. But his friend gave him great advice, pretty much told him to hang in there and all of that. But I felt like his friend knows that Derek is not telling him the extent and how bad things really are. And as we get towards the end of the episode, because I hope, spoiler alert, those who have watched at the end of the episode, this comes up again, this issue. And I just feel like Derek is not telling his friend what's really going on. And I feel like Megan is encouraging Derek to not talk to people about what's happening in their relationship. And I feel like it's strategic. But I will get to that at the end of the episode. But his friend was given the advice that you give your friend when they're like telling you a little bit and you know that something's wrong and they want to tell you more, but you know not to prod and poke. Like, honestly, that's reminded me of me to James, because when you were in your last relationship and going through a lot, like, James is not the person that's going to call people and be like, I need help, or this is happening, or I'm not happy. Like, it takes him a while to open up. He has to feel safe, which honestly, most people are that way. But I don't push him. I don't push him. I'm not going to be like, well, what aren't you telling me? And this and that. And I need to know this. Did this happen? Or,
Mm-hmm.
you don't do that to people. You got to let people express themselves when they are ready to express themselves, because they do it a lot better when you let them do it that way also.
Oh, absolutely.
Megan,
100%.
I don't feel like she's the safest person for Derek. I will explain that
No.
more later. I actually have very strong opinions on her, and I will bring them up later. Y'all might think I'm crazy for some of them. But his friend asked the most important question, and that was if he is willing to stay with Megan throughout all of these challenges, or if Megan is only willing to give him one kid or no kids. And this is where Derek expresses himself clearly, and he says having a large family, not just having kids, But it looks like having 3 kids to him and a big family is something he's not willing to compromise on. And I support him for that. And I respect him for that. I think that people who do not want kids should not compromise on that and make them. And I think that people who want large families should be with people who also want large families. It just makes it easier. And when you think of the idea of family, the kids that you raise will come out better if both people are wanting of the chaos that will come from a large family. I come from a large family, so I know. But I'm glad he's putting his foot down on that. I don't think children are something anybody should have to compromise on. I don't care who you are, where you're from, if you got fertility issues, gay, straight, got to go to the however you do it, got to ask your best friend to carry your child, or got to go to a fertility doctor and do it the proper channels for a surrogate. It doesn't matter. If you want children, I think those are the people that should be blessed to have them, usually, in my opinion. So how do you feel about Derek? Do you agree with him for not wanting the compromise? Do you think it's good advice, all of that?
Yeah, I think without him going into the exact details, I feel like his, concerns are valid because we have to understand Megan is 38 years old, which, is the high risk pregnancy term for women, and he wants multiple kids. So I think that they need to get a handle on it a lot sooner than a Brittany or Will, who are a lot younger and have a little bit more time. I think that that's what we need to see as a factor, that timing is not of the essence. If this is really real and we're really 100% in this and we both want children, we both want a family, we need to look at, the options of, well, if we do this naturally, how much time possibly do we have? I think that that's really where his mindset is that the reason why this is coming up and the reason he needs to be reassured is because, Megan can turn 40 and say, I'm not having kids. It's too late. So this man just wasted 2 years of his life waiting on her to get comfortable enough. And now she has completely crushed his dreams. You get what I'm saying? So I understood why he wanted to continue to bring it up. And I understood because timing is not of the essence. Unfortunately, she's older. And it's unfortunate I have to say it like that because I'm not age shaming her, but we have to be realistic.
It's a fact. It's a fact. Once you're over 30, harder to have kids. Once you're over 30, the chances of having a child with autism or any developmental disability is doubled. As you get into your 40s, it triples. There's also risk to the mother. So it's not rude. It's a fact. People need to stop being so fucking sensitive about facts that will potentially save their lives and things of that nature. But you're absolutely correct in everything that you say. I hope that he gets what he wants, but I also think this is a fault of the experts. I would not have matched a 38-year-old with a 38-year-old that each want children, especially knowing that one is very expressive about wanting a large family and one is very expressive about wanting maybe one, maybe two. So that was something the experts should have caught, because kids is actually a reason that people break up. Yeah. Having kids is, if you look at marriage and family therapy statistics, with the AAMFT, like kids, the idea of having children or kids is like one of the highest reasons that couples divorce. Having kids makes it 78% harder for couples to succeed, whether you're married or not. So you for damn sure better make sure that you both equally feel the same about wanting them and the number of wanting them. And people feel how they feel, but statistics don't lie and humans don't listen. So I'm sure, some fuck shit will still happen. But on a side note, moving forward, because that's all for now, with Derek. I like Derek, though. I feel for the brother.
I do too, and I feel for him as well. I know we'll get to the ending part where I feel for him even more, but yeah, it's just he's in a very lose-lose situation, unfortunately, based on who his wife is, and I feel horrible about that. I really feel like, the experts really have ruined this man's potential and future. Like I really do, with him wanting to have love and coming on this experience. I feel like they definitely have failed him.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that more at the end too, because I feel for the brother. StreamYard, and then I live, y'all, all these cars going by. Let me go off camera again. So Brittany and Will are FaceTiming. He's on vacation. She was real feminine, calling him fine. I said, again, these people had sex. And we do
It was
learn that they did indeed have sex. They showed some clips of her sitting on him. She put on the right lingerie. And I said, oh, okay, there we go. Good for them. Here's the thing. I'm going to just keep it a buck. Brittany, I feel you, girl, because when my husband don't give me no dick, I go crazy too. But I know him. You did. She went kooky on this man on the honeymoon, and I had a feeling that when she was tripping, I was like, she probably just needs some dick.
We said it.
We said it,
We
but
said it.
you cannot do that. You just met him.
No. You can't do that. But here's what she can't do. You can't want the sex, get scared the first night, then want the sex, and then when you're ready to bring it to him and he's feeling reserved because he's considering how you felt the night before, you then can't just sit up there and just go absolute ape shit crazy and then thinking that this man's gonna give it to you. I knew she needed it, and I said, I've been saying it the whole time. She needs to just get it over with, get it done. The shit obviously was good because she was yearning for more, and it was kind of a lot, and it's kind of like it broke down whatever, brick wall she had, because that shit came crumbling down. Now she like,
he broke down her walls. He broke something down.
He broke something. It must have been good. It must have been spectacular, because when I tell you that girl got to smiling, I'm like, damn, did that hurt?
You so fine.
I mean, just was a cheese, and I said, damn, do your face hurt? Did that hurt for you to smile, Corella? Right, Jesus, because I told Mrs. Best, I was like, I thought she was a lost cause, but when I saw this episode and when she admitted that
she was a lost cause, because
I still do too as well. Yeah,
this tells me is if you will do all of that over sex with a nigga you don't know yet, what you gonna do when you know him and your feelings are invested and y'all have a conflict? They give me the couple that's really, really good when they're good, but when it's bad, I feel like she'll go right back to her ways.
Yep.
I just do. But, Will is quiet and mysterious. I'll tell you, them quiet men be the one that in the bedroom be savages. I'm trying to tell you. That's why I've been stuck for so many years. I'm trying to tell y'all. You got to be more careful. It's the truth. Is my husband not quiet as shit? Unless he know you, he really don't say much.
No, he doesn't say much at all.
But, I mean, them quiet ones be doing other things in the bedroom. So that's all I can say, because my dad subscribes and I don't want no text messages or phone calls. But moving forward, we got to go back to the sadness of it all, which is Megan and Derek. Megan is the example of why there are so many memes about colorless women being miserable, problematic, and emotionally dangerous.
That's a great way to put it. Yep.
Because she is the example of that. She annoys the hell out of me. So Megan takes Derek to her job, the side hustle of commercial real estate, that turned into something I thought it was just going to be easy. It's hard work. Who goes into sales thinking it won't be hard work? To make the sale, you got to work your ass off. But
right.
I digress. She had a nice little office. They're playing. Things are going okay. But she gets annoyed because he mentions kids. And she says that having kids for her is nerve-wracking, but she wants kids badly. She tells him the reason she was annoyed is because anybody that knows her knows how badly she does want to have kids. And at first I was like, okay, she caught herself and explained, like, the reason I snapped and freaked out a little bit is because I'm emotionally triggered because this is important to me. I was like, okay, maybe there'll be some hope. But the bitch lost me, y'all. She says to him when he continues to speak about how he wants kids, and it doesn't mean they have to have them now, but he at least wants to speak about it so she understands that this is important to him, which is important. Every couple should talk about that in the beginning. Because how would you feel if you date somebody for 3 years and then you get an engagement and then you find out after you've done and signed the dotted line and years of your time is gone that they don't want kids or don't want the same number of you as you? At the very least, even if it's opposite, talk about it in the beginning so that if you get with that person and let's say you get married and you together 20 years later and you're like, I want a kid, and they're like, well, I want 9. And you're like, well, wait a fucking minute. At least you knew they wanted, that. But if you don't talk about it in the beginning, you won't know. And the way she handles stuff, it'll be a problem. So Derek is not wrong. She says she wants kids so badly that she's froze her eggs. So I'm like, okay, she's frozen her eggs. So I wish she would have stopped talking from anger and explained to him what it means to have frozen her eggs. Because what it means is if they're both financially okay, they can have as many kids as they want if they go and get a surrogate. What that means is she can be an older woman. If she's frozen multiple eggs, which usually they would have you do, she can go and have them implanted into her and fertilized with the sperm. She has a lot of options in today's time with science. So I'm like, to not even be willing to give him a conversation when you have frozen your eggs, but he don't have a backup plan. And I know some people will feel like, oh, he's a man. He can go bust a nut wherever and get someone pregnant. But he hasn't yet. So obviously he cares about who the mother of his children will be. So I'm not going to fault him for being responsible. More men need to do that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It was just weird. She tells him she feels blindsided by him, wanting to have the conversation. And then he explains, he went to his friend and that's how the topic came up because he discussed it with his friend and she manipulated and gaslit him into feeling like he was a problem for discussing that issue with the friend. But she was like, why are you talking to your friend about this? I talk to James all the time about myself and my husband's idea of having kids. He knows it may not happen. He knows I'm okay if it doesn't. He knows if it does and I get to a certain age, I refuse to carry and he better want to adopt or have the money for surrogate. Like, it's okay to talk to your friends about stuff like that. I don't see the issue in that. I felt like Megan was flipping out for no reason. I was like, y'all been fucking unprotected. She might need to take a pregnancy test. And if she's not pregnant, then I'll confirm that she's really this crazy. But he explains to her that it's important to him and that eventually they will have to have the conversation. So he gave her the we'll leave it alone now, but I'm going to want to talk about it eventually. She got mad and walked off. James, I cannot.
Lady, I see why you alone. I see exactly why you're alone. Because at the end of the day, he's bringing this up in conversation, and obviously he's going to his friends because he has concerns that you are not validating. And the validation that he needs is that, yes, I want to have children. Hence, you saying you froze your eggs. I just want you to reassure I froze my eggs. So that gives us a little bit more wiggle room to have time to, one, get to know each other and make sure that, we're a great match. So that way we don't bring your kid into a broken situation. That's all you had to say. That's all you had to say. And I think that would have been good enough for him to feel more comfortable with everything. But you want Megan to bring everything up as an issue and wants everything to be wrong. So he won't look what are you hiding? Is it some sort of flaws? Is it some deep damn insecurity? What is it? What are you hiding? Because I am sick of her always bringing up straw man arguments with this man over nothing.
When we first met her, this is why she's alone. And James has been seeing it for a couple episodes too. But I said it the very first time we met her, and I've been saying it. I see why Megan is alone, and I see why Brittany is alone. I see why Rhonda is alone. I like Linda. I like Chad. But the rest of them, including Josh and Jalen, I can understand why all of them were alone. Shani, they did say that during this episode. Megan at one point, we're having sex all the time without a condom, so obviously I'm okay if I get pregnant. But I'm like, girl,
that wasn't the point at all.
It wasn't the point, but also since she brought this up to address the comment, I know it happens. But with how the energy has been between them and how the communication has been, I would hop on birth control or get to 7-Eleven and purchase some Magnums because it don't look like things are going in a direction that will work for them. So to continue to fuck unprotected is crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but I think it's like the reassurance they both need to stay with each other. And I feel like for me, I almost don't want him to raw dog her because at the end of the day, she is throwing out every red flag and sign and flag on the play that you can see a woman do, where it's
That's
not
why he
even
puts up with it. I feel like maybe she's good in bed because
maybe, but at the same time, like you have to realize that Megan thinks that like literally what you say has an underlying meaning. That's why I called it. That's why it's called a straw man argument. You're not arguing over the real issue. You're arguing because you feel in your mind there's an underlying issue. So it's like someone saying that I like peaches instead of orange, and then you come back with, well,
we know what
oranges are
it
better
is.
for
I
you.
think that's an old term that's used commonly. It makes sense,
No,
but
some people don't understand what that is. Some people in this generation don't understand what that is. That's why I'm
well,
going over it.
this generation
Because
don't want
me and
to
you,
handle. Everybody
yeah,
should understand in our age range.
no,
Uh,
absolutely. No, that's what I'm
let's
saying.
move.
Yeah,
I
but
have to. We got to move it forward. She says, "Do we require the cast to take a blood test?" I honestly have no fucking clue. I don't see why they would though, because they're getting married. It's I don't know if they
oh no,
didn't.
they definitely do.
Okay, I would hope so. Because
No, any reality TV, it's a liability if you don't. So no,
okay,
they definitely do.
okay, I would hope so. Because please don't match me with nobody that got something that I may not want to deal with. Please, just don't. Like people have a right to know. So hopefully they do. I'm happy to hear that they do. Did they
Yeah,
do
they
it on
definitely do.
Flavor of Love? I'm considering you
Yes,
guys
they did.
and reacted to old seasons of Flavor of Love, I Love New York, all of that for fun. I don't know how I'll do it on YouTube. I'm gonna figure it out. But I'm considering it.
Boots confirmed that on Oliver Twick's interview that they did STD test all of them, which is
Oh,
why
good.
Boots was mad about Crazy bringing up that cold sore with Beautiful. She said that that Crazy made that shit up.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
Crazy used to be making shit. She really was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She said you just met him. What if he have a drippy dick? Shanny, they do test them, Shanny, but that's what I mean when I say what if they got something I don't want to deal with. Everybody has a right to know. I actually believe it's illegal, at least in California, if you have any STD and you don't disclose it to somebody, or STI and you don't disclose it to somebody, that you could go to jail. Like you have to disclose it.
You have to. By law, you do have to disclose it.
I don't know if it's in every state.
It is in every state, but there are parameters
In
for it.
California,
You can. I think here you could just sue them for pain and suffering. I don't think that they will get criminal charges behind.
Out here, you can do all of it, which is right because nobody should have anything and not disclose it to people. That's not fair. That's crazy.
Right.
We live in a world that is crazy. She said, what if she's baking bread between her legs? Shanny, sit down in the corner. Not breaking bread between her legs. But yeah, that is exactly why, because of those questions that you have. Like, STDs are more common than people think. STIs are extremely common. I live in the Bay Area. They have the highest in the Bay Area, one of the highest percentages of HIV positive people, specifically in the gay community here, than anywhere else in the country. So, and it's not just in their community out here either. Like Oakland specifically has housing dedicated to people who are HIV positive. I've put clients in them. So lots of stuff is everywhere. Lots has changed, but you got to disclose your status to people. And nowadays with medication, most people won't care. Just make sure you take your shit. Most people won't care.
Right.
But because why wouldn't you take it? They want to feel good.
Well, now they make it easier where you can get shots for the shit now. So yeah,
they have so many.
There's so many options nowadays. It's come a long way.
It has.
So it's just get you a shot, and then people who are still HIV negative, go ahead and get on PrEP, especially if you're serial dating. Like if you really are concerned about that, take that extra precaution. You should always wear condoms. I still wear condoms, so you should always wear them.
I hope people still wear condoms.
Yeah,
I haven't used a condom in many years for obvious reasons, but I am married. But like everyone should use condoms. Ain't nothing wrong with condom. Where do we get to next? I'm not going to comment on Will coming back home and Brittany making them food and all of that. I'm going to just say it's going to get toxic. When the dick is so good that it changes you to this extent, the moment he does something that makes you a little nervous or rubs you wrong, she's going to get kooky.
What's going to happen is she going to overdose him. Where like directly she going to want sex all the time and he going to get tired.
Mhm.
And it's gonna be a point where he's like, okay, baby, not tonight. And she gonna throw the biggest world
The
tantrum
biggest
ever. That's
thing.
usually how that go.
They
And
just
this,
give me toxic. Her
yeah,
and him, they just do. I'm not gonna lie, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall because I feel like he whatever he did should be
yes,
studied
it was
because
like
I did not see
I
that with
didn't.
her.
When I tell you, I had to watch the episode 3 and 4 times because I thought they had brought somebody new on the show. I said, I know this ain't the same Brittany that we've been dealing with for the first 4 episodes. Where the fuck did this come from? Like, it was that good? Because she got to, oh my God, you so fine. Ooh,
What
you so
did you
good.
see when he
Ooh.
came home? She made him food, asked if he needed something, was all over him, and she had the note on the dry erase board on the calendar. Welcome home, honey. You were missed. I said, oh, he really put it on her. He must have
Okay.
time, sex, and small stuff. Because she was
I mean,
quiet.
like, when I tell you she was getting moist just looking at him all through the door. It was
Right.
like, girl, like, damn.
He's a handsome man, but I said, my God,
Uh,
crazy.
I'm telling you.
Shanny said, I've been young, dumb, and mesmerized by
I
Dick.
can't wait.
We all
I hear
have.
it's amazing. No, I haven't yet. I
You
cannot wait.
haven't?
No, I can't wait to
Oh,
see. I
man.
can't wait to have that experience. I cannot wait.
I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna probably be the only friend that's forgiving and understanding of it. I'm letting you know right now. You gonna be like, girl, everybody tripping because and I'm just over here chilling, princess treatment. When it leave you in the bed and you got to cancel all your clients, shut up, Josiah. I'm trying to tell you. We have all been there. I'm trying to tell you, good dick is life saving. That's all I'm gonna say. Now let me stop saying too much for y'all.
I'm excited.
This. James said he's excited. I'm excited for you, but you know, Geminis, we nasty, so that's what it is. It's true. Moving on, all the couples meet in their apartments. It looks like the men were in Megan and Derek's apartment. Father God, we pray that the energy and spirit of Megan does not rub across these other couples. Leave the fuckery to just her. I really, and you see how comfortable Megan's dog is around Derek and other people? I think that dog wants away from her.
I do too.
I've been thinking that for a couple episodes.
Because that dog went to, even when they were sitting on the couch the prior episode, that dog walked right over to him, like, save me from this lady, please.
And when at the end, when they was trying to walk it, the dog just walked up. That dog don't like her. And
He don't.
will sense your spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And her energy.
That dog was like, yep, I'm staying home right with my new daddy. I ain't got time for you half.
He said, Daddy, can I be adopted? Oh, child.
Right. I feel like when they break up, he gonna run right to him and bark at her ass to bite her finger.
I feel like the dog, when it's mad at her, like probably do bite at her ankle. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. Shanny said, yo, I have woken up from my lovely evening going to get my hair done. Had to go back to give him his keys and turned around and had to get my hair done all over again after returning the key. I've been there. That's why I wear braids. I got tired of my shit getting toe up. I did. I said, oh no, this isn't going to work. Been in braids ever since 2013. Trying to tell you. I can't shut up, Josiah. Shanny understands it. She said, woke up from a good time.
Y'all ain't no good. Y'all over there talking about men over there sweating out y'all flips and shit, and y'all sitting up here like,
if you're not bald headed, you can't have a perm. And if you get it done right, that shit's sweating out.
I learned
looking toe up. I'm trying to tell you.
I learned something new every day. I promise you. I've never been with a black woman before, so for me, it's. I mean, like, we're talking about sex, right? Because of course there was Tara, yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, but no, me and her never went the full fledged. Like, literally, and I don't think we ever really tried to either, because I don't think we were together that long for us to even go there.
Y'all were young.
Yeah, we were young, so it was like, no. And then in college, I didn't like the black women in Phoenix. No offense to them. I did not.
Based
I
on
had
what I've seen after visiting, I understand.
Yeah, and I just there was one. She was from Chicago. There was one, but she really was not trying to give it to me. So it was like, yeah, all my chances with black women were all done.
You
She
got
wasn't
to
trying to
make
give.
her. That's the thing. That's got to be hell of
I'm
aggressive.
not. I'm not forceful like that. So that's why I was like, yeah, I'm not forceful like that. So I was like, damn, that was my one chance. Her name was Astari, and I will never forget her. She was beautiful. She was fun. She was vibrant. She did like me a lot, but the time we were intimate, like let's just say she was very good with her mouth, where she got the job done without me even having to go the full force.
Amen.
So
I'm happy
I
for
was
you.
like, no, because I wanted to go to full force. I felt like that was unfair.
Nah, it's all
No,
right.
that was
She
unfair.
had a gift.
She did. She
But
did.
let me know where are we at? Because I'm losing daylight. It's daylight savings. Shanny said the black women in Phoenix are probably always angry because it's so damn hot out there. The sun just be leaning on your neck and your head, sucking up all the air because it's so.
If that's what we saying, Shanny, absolutely. That's exactly what the
I did
problem
see a
is.
lot of black women out there in braids and crochets because it's too hot to be doing anything else. So
It wasn't even hot the weekend she came out here.
y'all, it was 88 degrees. It was hot. Now, for people who are used to where he lives, that may not be hot. But when that is considered not hot in end of October, November, where it's cold everywhere else, that means somewhere's motherfucking hot. It's the desert. You're in denial. Told you this. It's hot as hell. Oh Lord, but it was beautiful. It was nice weather. The mountains are pretty. So there is beauty. To me, you have to go outside of Phoenix kind of to see the beauty.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why I
do
don't live in
that
Phoenix.
outside.
I
Yeah.
live in the outskirts of Phoenix. I
Yeah,
don't
it
live.
was
Yeah.
very pretty. It was beautiful. I enjoyed it until a roach tried to kill me outside. But other than that, I ditched my husband and everything. He will tell y'all. We were just taking a stroll. We were taking a stroll. It was nice outside. It was pretty. There was scenery. We was taking a walk. Next thing I know, he stopped and looked down. I looked down. I seen a roach bigger than my hand. Absolutely not. No.
Roaches are like Stuart Little here.
Nobody warned. I don't do bugs. I must have jumped over it and sprinted so fast. No. Nope. But back on track to this. The men play a game which I liked where they all use one word to describe their wives. Everyone used words that I enjoyed. Will, I know you rocking her world, but I know it's going to take a while for you to warm up to her. But I like that you use learning. Derek, all I'm going to say, hang in there, brother. We on your side. And I would encourage Derek to date a black woman. I think Derek would do wonderfully dating outside of his race. I just do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I said I would have put him with Brittany. I really would have. I would have put him with Brittany, and I would have put Megan with Will. I really would have, because
I don't think he would need to go with Brittany because the age gap and her lack of maturity, I think, would be a problem. I think everything else would work, but her age gap and lack of maturity would be a problem. But
no. But hear me out. I feel like, yeah, that would be a factor, but I feel like he would have got to the cookie a lot quicker than Will did. Because I feel like he wouldn't have cared about that discomfort, that he would have tried again the next day, and she would have gave it to him, and then she probably would have again smiled. Because I'm telling you, Derek good in bed too.
But
that's why
the only reason people are together. And
we know she needs
outweighs. Yeah, if you're looking at it just from the perspective of sex, yes. But if you look at it from the totality of a relationship, they wouldn't work. But he definitely
that's what she was missing.
Someone of color, but she did need someone more aggressive because Will,
scared
of the pussy. I said it. I'm sorry. You can't, sir. Obviously, you know what to do with it, so don't act scared of it. Don't be scared. I'm just saying, don't be scared.
It is the softest place on earth, so I mean, like,
you said, chicks on TV nowadays with the name Brittany, aka Brit, don't come off too bright, do they? Ever since Britney Spears has been twirling around her living room, I ain't seen a Britney that's in the public light that's seen right in the head since.
Right.
I don't know if it's the Britney effect or what's going on, but I have it. But Britney mentions how being married makes her tolerate, when she's talking with the ladies, makes her more likely to tolerate the bad. She brings up the point, and it looks like Jalen agreed, a lot of the women agreed, that the fact that these couples are married at first sight if they were dealing with anyone else, they would have ended the relationship or dumped them. But because the stake of marriage is there, they're actually hanging in there, which I view as good and bad, because yes, marriage, you should work through the hard stuff, but usually in a marriage, you have gotten to know the person and you understand if it's worth working through the hard stuff. They don't know this yet. They're doing all of this just solely relying on hope and experts. So I got where she was coming from. I appreciate her trying to be positive, but that was a bit much. But Megan is silent and awkward. Everybody's talking about how they're doing in their relationships. And we see this all the time in every season of Marriage at First Sight. There's always somebody who's like doing bad but doesn't want the group to know. And it's like, worry about your relationship, not how the other couples are doing and trying to compete and be the best, because that's what Megan's trying to do. She's telling them she's good and that she's learning. And we learned that Megan doesn't want to talk to the girls about her relationship because she doesn't want to bring others into her relationship. If that was the case, then why were you bringing others into the fact that Will doesn't like EDM? Why were you bringing your mom into your relationship if that was the case? You came on a fucking show and you know how this show works. We're in season 19, Megan. You don't want to talk about your relationship because you know if you talk about it, people will tell you you're wrong.
Yep. 100% agree.
I can't stand her, James.
I can't either, because she's so entitled that it's really disgusting to watch. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, if it come to a circumstance where she started disclosing, they would tell her she's a problem, and she doesn't want to hear that she's a problem because she doesn't believe she is.
Yeah, that's true. She reminds me of our president. Just saying, she gives somebody a little for him too. Before we move forward, let me catch the comment. Do they get an extra bonus and money on the show if they last in the marriage a certain amount of time? No, not
they
at
get
all.
one. They get one solid fee, and that's it.
Yeah, that's about it. Let's see, what else is there? So my notes are all over the place, y'all. Chad come home dancing. She's not orange, but there's just an attitude amongst a certain group of people, I think, and they don't always like to acknowledge that group being the colorless. Megan definitely aligns with that. She may not see it. She may not want to admit it. She gives me the colorless person that'll be like, I live in a diverse city. I live in Austin. I'm not this. I'm not that. But she's bougie. She's sedity. She's judgmental. She's emotionally abusive, in my opinion, and manipulative. So I don't see any good thus far. You paying all that money for Botox and fillers and all of that to keep yourself attractive, but I see why you are single, Megan, and that's not helping. But we'll come back to you. Chad comes home dancing and calling Belinda pretty. It was actually really sweet. You could tell Chad enjoyed that whiskey with Derek.
Okay, because he was drunk as hell. I said,
he came home drunk. But if you a happy drunk, have at it.
You could tell she was uncomfortable with it at first, and then she kind of had to warm up into it, but it was harmless, you know.
I think she figured out, because you don't know what to expect with someone that's new who's drunk.
Right.
It's like, oh shit, what am I gonna get? So I think she was kind of like, but then when she figured out, like, okay, she probably had the thought, drunken mind, sober thoughts. He came home happy as hell, dancing around, and then is giving her love. So she gives him an I love you too, finally. Belinda, just accept it. Just lean into it and enjoy it for what it is.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, anybody over 35 plus, if you're dating, lean into it, enjoy it. You know, you're at the point where you have the age of discernment to know when to leave. Whether you do it or not is up to you. But lean into it and enjoy the good stuff while you can. I don't see why not, you know. But Megan and Derek are talking, and this is where things take a big U-turn. They come home from the evening, and she asked how the damn dog was. Bitch, the dog was fine. It was away from you. Justice for that dog. Somebody go get that dog, okay? Because I know animals serve as emotional support animals, but I feel bad when they got to do it to, like, shitty people. I just do. I know that's bad to say, but I just do. Like, Brittany, y'all, my disdain for Brittany was more so she's very immature. That's why me and James kept saying she's just not experienced. She's had, like, a serious relationship once in her life and has done, like, little minuscule dating. But more with Brittany, she can learn. I think she's a good person at the core and wants to be better. Megan, I don't know. I'm starting to see why she's alone, and I just don't care for her. But he asked how girls' night was, and she rudely responded saying, "There's nothing to tell." Did you tell something? I said, bitch, if you ooh.
Lord have mercy.
I respect men who don't not assault females, because the way she talked, in the words of the
Yes.
Lord, my hand would have been twitching. I would have backhanded her so quick.
He had a lot of self-restraint. I have to
So
give it
much.
to him. He had a lot of self-restraint. He had a lot of patience. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't gesture. He didn't curse. He didn't do any of that. That man has so much self-control that I had to applaud him. I actually clapped at the end of that episode for him. Justice for Derek.
Yeah, for real. She's crazy. She's absolutely insane. She basically becomes upset because he spoke about their relationship, because he's like, I told them the truth. And she's upset that he talked about the relationship with other people, which is toxic. She wants to keep it in-house, so he's not encouraged to leave her. She wants to keep it in-house so that she can have control of the situation. And I think she's aware of what she's doing. And I feel like she's a person with an ego big enough to where what she is doing has never worked in a relationship, but she'll keep trying it. But he explains that he doesn't feel like he's done anything wrong. And he finally put his foot down. He was like, tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I did wrong. She couldn't tell him. She couldn't tell him. She could not tell him. And then when he kept his foot on her neck, she says, well, you shouldn't judge how I feel about having a kid.
I said, like, what?
He tries to explain, like, I'm not judging you for how and when you want to have a kid. I'm just trying to have the discussion with you. She gets mad and shuts down and leaves. Slams the door. Then she does what I knew she would do. I said it when they was on that boat and they was tripping. She opens the room door and pulls him in the room to argue, but forgets to be Mike. And she's mad because he thinks that she does not want kids, which is stupid because he obviously doesn't think that. He's just trying to have a conversation. And if you do think that, Megan, maybe if you had that conversation with him, he wouldn't think it anymore. Dumb bitch. I'm just saying. She entirely shuts down the conversation. And production just kept panning to the wine bottle. I was like, they petty. They said this bitch been drinking. She did. He just kept panning to the wine bottle because she was the only one like crashing out. He was good. Like, he was obviously agitated, but he was, tell me what I did. Tell me what I did. That's not true. Tell me what I did. And she was basically like, the equivalent of that. So I'm like, oh my God, you make no sense. You just make no sense. But, you know, I was happy when Derek said, whatever it is that you feel I did, it doesn't warrant this reaction from you. Because that was the best line that he could have said, because it was the absolute truth. He ain't put his hand on you. You ain't been called out your name. He ain't talked about your family, your money. He ain't talked about your looks. He ain't said he don't want you. He ain't threatened to leave you. If you want kids so bad and he's telling you he want kids, then why are you mad that you think that he thinks that you don't want kids? Just reassure him and let him know that you do want them, but you don't want them now. Or say something simple like, we just got together. Can we wait a year and then come back to the conversation? I don't want to have it now. I want to get to know you. But instead of communicating, she throws a fucking fit. So she cannot tell Derek what he did wrong, because he did not do anything wrong. And women like Megan are the reason that some men leave a relationship, end up in the next, and change, and may not be as loving, and may not be as honest, and may not be as faithful. You can damage people for how they're going to treat others. You really have to be careful how you treat somebody in a relationship, because it could impact how they treat the person after you.
Absolutely. And a lot of times when they end up with other men, that's when they do it.
I can't.
Yes.
I feel about the little argument at the end, because I personally feel like what she did was a form of emotional abuse down to the definition and what they teach us in school. Like,
absolutely. It was absolutely that and more. And the problem that I have with Megan is that you're angry about something else and you're holding him hostage to it. It is obviously and clear, because he just said he just wanted to be reassured that the plan is we still would like kids and everything. You said you froze your eggs. Perfect. That was the reassurance that he needed. The fact that you continue on and made it about him opening up to his friends, and then also the same people who are going through the same experience you're going through, it's now a problem and it's now defeat. It's now one of the most heinous things you can do to a person. It's like, ma'am, cut the shit out. Because for me, as I said, he had the most. When I tell you that man is very professional in his personal professional life, because when I tell you I was waiting for him to yell, I was waiting for him to scream, and it all would have been justified for me. Sorry, it would have been. It all would have been justified for me because she keeps egging shit on. And maybe that's what she wants. Maybe she wants to trigger him in a way where it gets him angry and agitated. So then she can play a victim in her own circumstance and see it's not working with him. It's not working. And it's like, and that's why she gets so frustrated. And it was like, ma'am, like Rhonda, you are toxic.
Yep.
Rhonda is actually probably what you were probably what Rhonda was when she was your age.
Yep.
I'm starting to see a parallel between those two, because you're wanting to always point out shit that he does wrong. And it's not even things that he does wrong. It's just a different way that he chooses to live his life and communicate. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if he trusts the person that he's communicating with.
At least he's trying to communicate. She's not even trying at this
right.
point. And if he says that she is, she's not. And I'm tired of white women doing this, because something you said is very true and something that happens that needs to stop. Stop making a problem and then playing the victim. Like, stop. I'm sick of her. I want him to leave her, but based on the clip, y'all, it doesn't look like that's going to happen just yet. But they do have a decision day and stuff like that towards the end. So that was all that happened in this episode. I do feel inclined to let everybody know. I saw a post online that Pastor Robinson had posted and confirmed that these episodes will be airing not one at a time, but like 2 to 3 episodes at a time. The show will be going off on November the 20th. We will be replacing this show with Heather Gay's Surviving Mormonism, as well as Love and Hip Hop Miami. Vanderpump Rules is back early next month. We have a bunch of stuff coming back on this channel. But I appreciate everybody for watching the Married at First Sight lives. I always love a good relationship show. It's always interesting, because I'm tired of the housewives pouring water on each other and changing their bios to say they're water benders. I'm Meredith. I am tired. Thanos is getting her own show. The one thing I respect about Heather is how she keeps her foot on the neck of Mormonism and holds them accountable. If you're going to leave, do that. Don't leave halfway, Brittany, and be, back and forth. But I do appreciate her for that, and I think she should branch out and do other things, because I just don't care for her on this show anymore. I don't. Nobody.
I agree.
But I appreciate everybody for watching. We'll be back live. What day is it today? Monday?
It's Monday. No, I don't have nothing airs tonight. We have shows both tomorrow. I have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. You have Love and Hip Hop Miami. So we'll probably be live again on Wednesday.
Yeah. I also have Wife Swap Housewives Edition on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
That airs after Salt Lake City for some reason. Yes, it's tomorrow. It is tomorrow. But I appreciate everybody. I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you, James. Shout out to our replay gang. And we will see you guys on Wednesday. Adios.